Dạ. Dạ không sao. Dạ.
Có chỗ nào ngồi sâu các bạn mặt có tay che mất trơn không thấy được.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for your patience. All right, well, welcome to the AHA Proclamation. We are so excited to have you. Lots of love and patience and excitement went into this, so we hope you enjoyed today's program. And I'm actually...
Everybody's talking at the same time. Thank you all for coming. Thank you for being a huge thank you to AHA. It's okay. For putting this on. We know it takes a lot of effort, and on behalf of all of us, we thank you. So welcome to our annual Asian American Native Hawaiian Pacific Islander Heritage Month celebration. When, Prakirti first asked me to say a few words about how I got to the county to work here, my mind immediately went to all the twists and turns my career has taken. And I remember thinking, who wants to hear that disease story? But upon greater reflection, I realized that every single one of those turns was guided by an unwavering, unequivocal belief in the equality of all people. You see, I'm Sikh American. Sikhism is the world's fifth largest religion. It originated in South Asia. And among its central tenets is the belief in the equality of all people, all races, all genders, essentially everyone. But the experience of Sikh Americans has not always been that, of feeling or being equal. So I remember as a kid hearing my dad talk about job searches when he was looking for an engineering position, and telling me on how more than one occasion he was made offers contingent upon removing his beard, removing his turban, trimming his beard, and cutting his hair. Now for Sikh Americans, a turban is more than just an article of faith. It's an outward symbol of our commitment to defend the equality not only of ourselves, but for others, and particularly those that can't defend it themselves. So as you can see, Sikh values align with American values, but yet there was this disconnect. And it was that disconnect, as evidenced through my dad's experiences and those of others, that really led me to law school and eventually practice employment discrimination law. Each time I had the privilege of helping someone facing similar circumstances, I thought some strange way that I was standing up for Dad and embodying the legacy he and my mom passed on to me. Dad, of course, turned down those offers, but the confidence with which he did it embodied another central concept of our faith, that of Jogdikla, or of an eternal optimistic spirit of resilience in the face of adversity. And that spirit is not unique to Sikhism, although it's a Sikh value. It's actually found across all traditions, Asian and non. For example, Bhagavad in Islam, the middle way in Buddhism. And it's those traditions and others that remind us that resilience, optimism, and hope are what bind us through cross-faith cultures and communities. So this month, I wish for us that eternal optimism. May we all derive strength from our stories, wisdom from our shared values, and joy along the twists and turns that lead us to one another. Thank you so much.
I was going to try the mic, but this was the whole French group. Thank you so much for those very sweet and inspiring words. Let's learn more about you too. Thank you. And for your ongoing support for the Asian Heritage of Arlington County. My name is Catherine Shiraboga, and I'm the co-vice president for AHA. I would now like to invite County Board Member Matt DeBrenti to read our proclamation in honor of AA and HPI Month.
Thank you very much. I'll have the mic a little bit away from me so that I have a cold, and that's it. And I did go to the Minute Clinic this morning, but this is very important for me to be here today to share with you a few thoughts on the proclamation. Appreciate everyone making time. It is no easy feat to do what the Asian Heritage Alliance has done to put this event together. Event creation is exhausting, as you probably know. But it is important work that celebrates the diversity of our Asian American community in Arlington and our community in county government. May is Asian American Pacific Islander Heritage Month. Arlington wants to recognize and celebrate all the contributions to our society and county that this community brings. I think it's important to note, almost all of you in the room will know part of the story of Arlington is inextricably linked to our little Saigon as part of Clarendon. That is a story of us being a welcoming community that's just so important to remember at this moment. Particularly, it is the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon. And my cousin in Arlington set forward then many of our faith communities. And there's a cultural hub in Clarendon, and it's important to remember and note it. That's just one example of the indelible impacts of our Asian American Pacific Islander community has in the country. I'll read the proclamation. Stop filibustering. Whereas continued immigration and population growth has resulted in almost 26,630 Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders living in Arlington, constituting more than 10.9% of Arlington's population. Whereas astoundingly diverse within its ranks, Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders contribute to the great diversity of this nation of nations that is, and I will editorialize, should and must be our country. To the diverse and inclusive community of Arlington, preserving the rich legacy of their native cultures while embracing the best values and traditions of the United States of America. And whereas an example of this preservation of native culture is Arlington's unclothed Saigon, a vibrant immigrant community that emerged in Clarendon after the end of the Vietnam War, sent the first waves of refugees to the United States 50 years ago. And whereas through multifaceted skills, traditions, of hard work and creative entrepreneurship, Asian American and Pacific Islanders have contributed to the prosperity and economic well-being of Arlington County. And whereas this community has brought with them solid family values and marvelous traditions that strengthen the very fabric of our society, and whereas through their deep respect for education, indefatigable industry, and persistent drive for excellence, Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders have demonstrated outstanding individual and group achievement in academia, government, and business. Now, therefore, the County Board of Arlington, Virginia does hereby proclaim May 25th as Asian American and Pacific Islander Heritage Month in Arlington County, and urge all residents, workers, and visitors of the county to observe this occasion by sponsoring and participating in activities that highlight the contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to our society and to Arlington County. Signed, Chair Takis Antonis. Please give that a hand. Before I hand back the microphone, I think Gurjit's story is part of the American story, as it should be, and it is for sure part of what Arlington's story has been and will continue to be as we serve the community and, I dare say, country that we must be. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the kind words to our County Board Member, Matt DeFerenti, and happy AA and HPI Month again to everyone. My name is Han Duong, and I'm the other co-vice president for AHA. We are excited to introduce our keynote speaker, Nguyen Dinh. Born in Saigon, Vietnam, Nguyen emigrated with her family to the United States in 1975. Currently, she serves as Vice President of Government Relations and Strategy at Black Sky Global LLC, which is the provider of real-time geospatial intelligence. Her experience in the intelligence and national security fields has spanned over 2 decades. She is a graduate of James Madison University and the Catholic University of America's Columbus School of Law. Nguyen is also a member of the Virginia State Bar, a board member of the Leadership Council for Women in National Security, Vietnamese Americans Celebrating Freedom's Board of Directors, and the Washington Cyber Roundtable. Please give a warm welcome to Nguyen Dinh.
Good afternoon, distinguished board members, county staff members, and guests. Thank you for inviting me to share in today's Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Heritage Month. I don't know if we can jam any more acronyms to this. I'm going to turn it into the Pentagon soon. So thank you to the board and the county for recognizing that this year marks the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon. Half a century gone in a blink of an eye. On April 22nd, 1975, under the cover of night, my dad, an officer in the Army of the Republic of Vietnam, was mortally wounded and partially blinded. He checked himself out of the hospital, illegally of course, and then came home, downtown to Saigon where my family was living. My mother had just given birth to my then 12-day-old brother. Who doesn't love a little brother? We can all feel that one. And my dad says to my mom, we have to leave now. And my mom says, where are we going? We're not packed. What's going on? I just gave birth. I mean, I know you're at war, but I just gave birth. And my dad says, we don't have time. And my mom goes, where are we going? And he said, hopefully America, because we will take our chances. Anywhere is better than living under a communist regime. I was a preschooler, so I thought we were just going on a short trip. It wasn't a short trip. We made our way to Tanzania Airport. We then made our way past several U.S. bases where the U.S. military was evacuating refugees. When we showed up at Clark Air Force Base in the Philippines, the airman asked us, what y'all doing here? And why are there so many of you? Tent City emergencies had sprung up. Apparently, the Air Force was not ready for us either. Eventually, we made our way to Guam, because that's where most Vietnamese refugees were processed. And sitting around, I know my dad and my mom were just waiting, because we didn't know what was happening next. Someone had found an old radio, and if you're a refugee, you're going to find a way to fix that radio, and someone did. We gathered around this old broken radio that had now been fixed and was transmitting. We heard the BBC announce the North Vietnamese Army, the Communist forces, their tanks, Russian and Chinese-made tanks, had rolled onto the presidential palace grounds. The Republic of Vietnam, nascent and barely 20 years old, was no more. That day sears into my mind. As we waited in Guam, the question next was, where the heck are we going? And we are now officially homeless and we're refugees. Where to next? Thankfully, my dad had kept in touch with one of his very favorite persons, a U.S. Army Major Earl Russell III, also known as Rusty. He was a pilot and served 2 tours in Vietnam. And Rusty and my dad finally had a phone call. And Rusty says, "Where are you? I thought you were dead." My dad's like, "I thought you were dead." So after they cried and did their buddy talk, Rusty goes, "Buddy, where are you?" My dad goes, "I'm in Guam." And Rusty's like, "That is a godforsaken place. We need to get you out of there. I'm gonna find a way to bring your family to America. I bring you to America." My dad goes, No, it's just not me anymore. It's now me, my wife, and 2 little kids. Rusty's he's a good old boy from Texas. He's like, "I want to figure this out." So he goes down to Immigration Naturalization Services and he says, "I would like to sponsor a family of 4 to America. I'm a U.S. war veteran. I have all these." He brought all his medals and all of his accolades, his DD, I think it's 51, 52, something like that, to show his legitimacy. And the government says, "Dude, you just left the Army, you're working at a car dealership, and based on your income, you are barely selling a car a month. How are you going to feed your own family and now a family of 4? Can you help me do the math?" Rusty's like, "I hadn't thought about that. Well, what do I need to make this happen?" And INS says, "You need somebody or something bigger. You need an organization, a corporation. You need a major entity to stand behind you." Rusty's like, "Got it. Be back tomorrow." He goes to his church and says, to ask his church elders, he says, "This is my buddy from Vietnam. He saved my life on a couple of occasions. I'll tell you the stories later. I need the church to sponsor him." This is the largest church in Manhattan, Kansas. If you've never been to Manhattan, Kansas, it's not like Manhattan, New York City. Let's just make that clear. The church is like, "You're a war hero. You live in this town. Done." So next day, Rusty, American ingenuity, comes back and says, "Church has already signed off on me. Give me my people." So next thing you know, my family are en route to Manhattan, Kansas. That is the story of how we ended up in CONUS at mainland U.S. So I tell you that because the Vietnam War is just not a Vietnamese civil war story. It was a major war, a global stage framed by the good, freedom, democracy, these ideals, led by the Republic of Vietnam and aided by the United States, battling evil forces. Remember the Soviet Union? Yes, the Soviet Union and Communist China. Every family who sent a father, a brother, a son, or even a daughter to this war shouldered not only the burden of the family member fighting in combat, in support of combat, or aiding the wounded after combat, but the generational trauma that followed. An overwhelming number of American and Viet families bear invisible scars that cannot be seen by the naked eye. Combatants, doctors, nurses, civilians who fought or lived through the war, lost loved ones, homes, their family, farms, businesses. We've experienced and seen enough suffering to last a lifetime. Our wish is that the next generation seeks to learn, understand, and remember this pivotal time in world and U.S. history. And like many refugees, we decided that Manhattan, Kansas, while it was a big city in a big state, it was time for us to move. And eventually we made our way to Northern Virginia, to Arlington of all places. And similar to all refugees and newly arrived immigrants, my folks worked multiple jobs, often at the same time, to put a roof over our heads, just like many of your families. They helped us with our homework, they forced us to learn piano, and babysit our younger siblings. They did their best to bury their own traumas to give us a chance at a better life. So will you indulge me and just give my parents, Colin and Tremden, a round of applause, Mom and Dad, please stand. Hopefully this will make I wanted to also just acknowledge that the first part of my remarks were such a solemn and severe and such a challenging time that I chose to put a darker jacket on because I didn't feel like this happy outside that I'm modeling would express the joy that I feel in the second part of my remarks, which is to celebrate Asian American, Native Hawaiian, Pacific Islander Month with you all. So Arlington County, mad props. Arlington County was the first to establish a little Saigon commerce hub of grocery stores, cafes, markets in the DMV. Clarendon was the place to be. I'm pretty sure we spent almost every weekend there at Macon Center or Pacific buying groceries, picking up community gossip, my folks looking for jobs, news from back home in Saigon. It was truly a meeting place. And a couple weekends ago, the county sponsored a well-attended walking tour with the speakers titled Remembering Little Saigon. It was a wonderful tribute to Clarendon and the history of Arlington. And Kim O'Connell is in the audience. I'd like to give her a shout out for keeping that story going on for now for 2 centuries. Recognize Ducey Lee Esquire, longtime Arlington resident, community supporter, and bonus. Her mom was actually at the Remembering Little Saigon. Ducey is a high-powered banking attorney by day, and by night she teaches underprivileged children in South Arlington the Japanese martial art called Shotokan Karate. Ducey, will you stand up? These little youngsters, they may be small, but they are mighty. And then, real quick, because you all have access to the internet, just want to acknowledge our other Asian American groups that came before us. The Japanese and the Chinese in the 1880s, they came to the U.S. with the promise of agriculture, jobs, railroads, mining, and the possibility of why America is such a beacon for so many immigrants around the world, and that is the opportunity. Nobody comes here for a handout. Nobody comes here and says, I'm going to sign up for welfare. Every single immigrant who comes to the United States says, I want to come here, I want to work. Give me the chance to work, because that's what I can do. So I have to tell you, the Filipinos beat everybody to it. One of my colleagues did a little quiz, and because he's Filipino American, he goes, we beat all y'all. And I said, by how much? By a couple years? He goes, no, by a century or 2. So apparently, I didn't realize this. I'm a history major, but we're always learning. The Filipinos in 1587, that's a long time ago, that's older than boomer age. The first Filipinos landed what is in now Morro Bay. And you're thinking, where the heck is Morro Bay? It's north of Santa Barbara and south of Monterey. They were part of a sailing expedition out of Portuguese Macau. And as part of a Manila galleon trade, they landed there, and there was an incident. Read about it on your own time. But yes, so the Filipinos beat everybody to America. And we can't talk about Asian American History Month without, of course, the railroads. And I'm just going to share this story very quickly. So if you look at America, the Chinese are building it from west to east, and the Irish and the white labor from east to west, and somewhere in the middle they would meet. So allegedly, somewhere around the Midwest, the Irish had figured out that they were not being paid the same wage as white laborers. And they were like, what, we're white? And the railroad's like, yeah, but you're Irish, so you're not really full. And of course, the Chinese laborers weren't getting paid much of anything. So I know the story because my husband's Irish American. He's like, you gotta tell the story. I'm like, yes, we are the ideal couple to talk about railroads. I'm not even Chinese. You're failing on your after the potato famine. Anyways, so what happened was the Irish was like, this is insane. We're working the same hours, we're getting paid less than the other white wasp, if you will. I don't know if that's derogatory term. Laborers. So you know what they did? Genius. They kidnapped the railroad foreman. All the lawyers take a breath. It was the Wild West. Nobody was going to stop them. So long story short, they kidnapped the foreman. They fed him, but barely. And then they negotiated a deal. Collective bargaining. So after that date, the Irish were paid the same wage as the white men. But the Chinese were left out of that bargain. So just wanted to share that quick story with you. I'm all over the place, apologies here. And then, of course, to keep Asian American history alive, I'd like to recognize Dr. Connie Park, president of Make Us Visible Virginia. This org is working with the Virginia Department of Education to develop Asian American history and training resources. For the first time ever in the Commonwealth, educators will have comprehensive K through 12 Asian American history resources and professional development opportunities. Make Us Visible Virginia's work is poised to impact 1.3 million children. That's a lot of young minds. Dr. Park, will you stand and just be recognized? And then I'm going to wrap it up because somebody's going to give me a hairy eyeball and take away my microphone. So very quickly, can we, Miss Bibi Nguyen, the director of the Reston Community Center, Ms. Ki Jung, the president of the Coalition of Asian Pacific American Virginia, and Ms. Wanda, thank you for all your contributions. Bibi, thank you so much for your leadership. Juan, thank you for volunteering me for these unpaid gigs. So I'm gonna tell you one quick story. I'm gonna wrap it up. So being Asian American is not that special, or I thought it was. Back in the day, I was a congressional staffer for many, many years, like a decade. And that's like a felony prison term, right? So I leave the Hill, and now I'm in the private sector. And I'm at my then fiance's house, and we're going to go to this event, and I go outside, and my actor is gone. I'm like, I am not that old. I parked it here last night. Son of a beach. So I call the police. I'm like, oh, my car's been stolen. My car's been stolen. I'm a legitimate Fairfax County resident, taxpayer, and former congressional staffer. Someone stole my car. And they're like, okay, crazy lady, we'll be right over there. So they come over. The first officer comes in, and he's like, takes all the details. And he goes, I'll be right back. He goes and makes a call or two, and I'm thinking, I'm special. So many cops care because I'm somebody. Another police officer, police cruiser shows up with not one but two police auxiliary officers, and they come in and they just stand by the door, like guarding it. I'm like, well, I guess I am special. And then 15 minutes later, a fourth officer shows up, and she's in charge, clearly. Meanwhile, the original officer is now walking around the house with my then fiance because he's trying to sell him his house. So while I am fuming that my car is stolen, no one's doing anything about it, finally, after about an hour, the boss lady police officer goes, I have your driver's license. We have an issue. I'm thinking, yeah, the issue is you all need to go find my car. And they said, she says, well, what's your social security? I'm going to run it. I give it to her. She comes back and she says, so we have this issue, which is somebody who looks a lot like you, has your name, has your birth date, and has your weight. I'm like, well, I fooled you because that's my fake weight. But she's a Californian resident. And I was like, there are like a jillion Viet people. Like, she could be any, I don't know who she is. And the police officer goes, well, the issue is that she has a felony arrest warrant for her. She jumped bail, and she's a violent criminal, and I have a notice that says arrest upon sight immediately and extradite back to California. I was like, look, lady, I work for Republicans. We are law-abiding people. I am not some weird gangster felon, blah, blah, blah. She goes, well, she has a tattoo on her face. I'm like, look at me. What part of this looks like a tattoo? She goes, you can conceal it. I was like, really? Really? I was like, I'm happy to call my former boss, who's a member of Congress, and he can vouch for me at this point, because this is getting kind of ridiculous. So, long story short, we went round and round, and finally, I guess because and back then the Facebook was not really a thing, the Insta wasn't a thing, nobody was on LinkedIn, just super old people. So there was no other verification. But long story short, I thought it was so special because I was somebody and that the police had cared, but really they cared because they thought they were going to snatch and extradite a violent felon to California that day. So anyways, that's my story, why it's not that special to the Asian American. And so, in conclusion, thank you to Arlington County staff for keeping our county running smoothly, even when our roads aren't. Thank you for picking up the phone 700 times a day to answer endless questions. Thank you, Arlington County staff, for showing and smiling on days you probably don't want to, but you do anyways, because you're the face and the voice of the county. We Arlington residents and taxpayers thank you for your professionalism, your patience, and your kindness. It makes all the difference. And lastly, thank you all for sharing some time with me today. I hope this was pleasant, and hopefully we'll be able to chat a little later. And thank you for all you do for us residents.
One of the activities coordinators for AHA. And I now would like to introduce our first performers, Mark H. Rooney, the world's most dangerous half-Japanese, half-Scottish solo improvisational taiko artist. Mark performs and teaches taiko, a dynamic form of full-body drumming based in Japanese tradition. He combines this traditional foundation with a modern sensibility to create performances and classes that emphasize connection, reaction, and interaction. Mark has been a performing member of many groups in Japan, as well as performing widely in Europe and the United States as a touring member of Taikoza. Since moving to DC in 2011, Mark continues to follow his true passion and teaches ongoing weekly classes, offers special workshops, and performs for a wide variety of audiences ranging from school children to diplomats. Mark is joined today by fellow taiko artists Kota Mizutani and Erika Minoyu. Please welcome and joining us to the stage.
Wow, it's an exciting performance and it's very amazing to watch. So thank you very much, Mark and the team. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Bing Wong and I am one of the AHA officers working in the Human Resource Department. Please allow me to introduce Indian Amir Tanayagam. Indran is a poet, an editor, a publisher, a translator, a YouTube host, and a diplomat. He is the author of 28 books and translations. For 30 years, he has worked for his adopted country. For 30 years, he has worked for his adopted countries, the United States, on diplomatic assignment in Africa, Asia, Europe, and North and South Americas. He edits the Bellway Poetry Quarterly, writes weekly poems for his Haiti and Marseille, writes for his personal blog, and received many fellowships from many foundations. He also writes in English, Spanish, Portuguese, and Haitian. Indran is here today to share a few pieces of his original poetry. Please join me to welcome and give a big hand to Indran.
Thank you very much. It's really an honor to be part of this proclamation. I'm a migrant. I'm going to read from a book, one of my books called Migrant States. So the migrant states, my book about America, and the migrant speaking, the migrant stating. And read 3 poems from this book and then one poem from memory to close. Flown away. This minced meat, keema mixed with rice and peas and a cup of milk tea. Pakistan brought home with writer and good company at Shant Cottage, Kent, where the proprietor asked me to focus on the tips of leaves, birds' nests and high branches, where new blackbirds will fly, not on roots preserved in the jewelry box, shaved nails, hair locks, that the muddy river and its squealing fowl no longer form a part of the English body, free yet pleased to eat this meal, to share a bit of Pakistan with the prodigal son who stopped by to chat, far from his island home, Ceylon, rubbed off the map. I studied in high school at Punago in Honolulu. That was my first American experience. The island of Oahu and that multicultural mix. And I have studied with Barack Obama at that time, Barry Obama, and my classmates. So it's just sort of an interesting to remember that on this day. English migrant. And I'm talking here about one of our teachers, Barbara Earl. I'm digging into English memory, Barbara Earl's class, Wordsworth and daffodils, trying out for 12th night and casting the ship captain and priest, minor characters not related to the play's leading families, a sensitive point for a Tamil boy unaware of his extreme solitude added to his wish to belong, to graft himself upon the American tree. But Miss Earl helped me along, selected me later as the lawyer in the senior variety show, a major role in front of the entire school, a speaking part in a musical, tweed-blazered, spectacled, and English accented in an America that respected the Queen's English even more than her subjects, a strange yet minor twist to more than 200 years of independence and development of the special
relationship. And now, where did I intend to stroll among the daffodils, reading the lake poets in Honolulu under palm trees by the Pacific, eating guavas and mangoes, wearing slippers? The wonderful life of the English scholar in the tropics, comforted by the poetry, even if the flora did not correspond to the melody. I became a citizen and learned later from Whitman that America contains a contradictory, brimming multitude, which Lorca discovered as well when he walked downtown from Columbia the year of the great crash, writing Poeta in New York. The Migrant's Reply, which I wrote initially during the first term of the current president. We have been running for so long. We're tired. We want to rest. We don't want to wake up tomorrow and pack our bags. We have gone 10,000 miles. We have boarded a rowboat, a tugboat, a bus, a freight train. We have a cell phone and some bread. Our eyes are dry. Our breath needs washing. What next? You're putting up a wall on your southern flank. What an irony. A country that accepts refugees does not want us. We qualify. We have scars, and our host governments hunted, at least some of us. The rest fled in fear. Gangs do not spare even the children. White vans took away our uncles, our cousins. Do you think they've been made into plowshares? Aye, what are you saying? Too easy to wear our hearts in these words, in slings, on our faces, furrowed, perplexed. What happened to kindness to strangers? Why do we have to be herded like prisoners held in a holding camp? We are human beings, and like you, in safer countries, we have the same obligation to save ourselves and our children. Oh, the children, look at them. Give them food and school, a new set of clothes. Give them a chance. Whether you are red or blue, the eye of the hurricane does not discriminate. We are your tumbling weeds, hurling cars, flooding banks, and we are diggers of the dikes. We can teach you so many languages and visions. You would learn so much. You would never ever say, lock us up. I'll close with you must love. You must love the land when you leave to build your house on the sea. Love what's lost, the mango tree burning in the garden, the curious noose of the familiar coat of arms. Love the ball turning strong, spinning in a dark, faraway land. Love the tongue you never again speak, that wrapped you and bled you and dried up some every day on the other side of the sea. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Indran, for a wonderful, lovely reading. My name is Atul Sharma. I'm one of the secretary of AHA, and I am privileged to introduce our dancer. She is from Nepal. She will be dancing Nepali song. So her name is Krisika Parajuli. Let's welcome Krisika.
sharing their culture and words with us. My name is Felici Talatala, and I am the event coordinator for Asian Heritage Alliance. And I would like to now invite Prakriti to the podium to announce the winners of AHA Awards.
All right, y'all. I need some energy in the room. Can we please give like a round of applause? So thank you all so much for bearing with us. We're nearing the end of our program. I know you all are very eager to eat. I know most are too. So we'll get you there, I promise. This is my personal favorite part of the program. And before we actually get to the AHA Awards, I wanted to take a second to acknowledge a very, very important person in AHA. She is an AHA alum and actually just recently retired, but she set the bar so dang high for AHA. She's been a legend, and I'd argue that she herself represents a legacy of leadership and resilience. So I'd like to acknowledge and ask Ms. Lalon Hong to come on up and get a card and some flowers. Sorry, y'all. Lalon is like literally a living legend. We love her. All right, so let's get started. So the first award that we're going to give out is the Creativity Award. This award honors an individual who demonstrates innovation, originality, and imagination for projects, events, things like that for AHA. Someone who actually nominated this person so that they have exceptional creativity and unwavering willingness to support AHA, especially during our recent Henna and Chai event. They actually applied henna for over 30 attendees and also provided chai. They are an incredible person, an incredible asset to AHA, and I'm so excited to award our Creativity Award to Shahana Farnes. Next up is the team, sorry, I'm going through these really fast. Next up is the Teamwork Award. This award recognizes outstanding collaboration, cooperation, and synergy within AHA. This person goes to someone who demonstrates exceptional ability to work together harmoniously, leverage each other's strengths, and achieve shared goals with unity and mutual support. The person that nominated this individual has said that this person is always a team player. They both advocate for AHA as well as Arlington County Libraries. We are so grateful to have her as an internal connection, and her contributions has made AHA even stronger. I'd like to award the Teamwork Award to none other than Catherine Shiriboga. All right. Okay, the Allyship Award. So the Allyship Award celebrates an individual who displays unwavering commitment to advocacy, fostering inclusivity, and advancing equity. I think this person was kind of a no-brainer. They acknowledge their vital role in cultivating inclusive communities and building a more just and equitable society for all. I'd like to award the Allyship Award to Brittany Veland. Did I say her last name right? The Leadership Award. So the Leadership Award recognizes an individual who's demonstrated leadership qualities, so motivating others, guiding teams towards shared goals, driving positive change and making an impact on their peers. More than just an ally to AHA, this person is a vital part of our team as she's made countless contributions to ensure the success of everything that we do. She never hesitates to take initiative in leading, encouraging, and guiding everyone on the team, and I'd like to award the Leadership Award to Katie Ekamara. I'm like holding this mic like my child. I'm so sorry. All right, the final two awards. So these are the President's Awards, obviously my personal favorite. It's awarded by the President herself. And identifies an individual, in this case individuals, who exemplify excellence, leadership, and extraordinary contributions to AHA. This accolade personally selected the President recognizes people who have distinguished themselves through their outstanding achievements, integrity, inspiration, and sheer existence as a role model for anyone around them. So this year goes to 2 individuals. The first recipient is Felici Talatala. Felici never fails to bring great ideas and solutions to the table. She is a kind, warm, and go-with-the-flow type of person. And from the moment I met Felici, she's always had a smile on her face and is willing and ready to help. I know it's like awkward, like, do you come up or not? I think it's safe to say that anyone that meets Felici is immediately inspired by her dedication to advocacy and representation for our community. And then our second, would you mind standing up? Or actually, just no, it's fine. All right, the next and final recipient of the President's Award is Serena Asher. Serena is undeniably a team player. She's always ready to roll her sleeves up and dive right in to help. I remember even last year, our proclamation, we were scrambling for like saying things. She immediately just came right up and was like, what do I do? Like, how can I help? Working with Serena has been such a joy this last year, and her contributions to AHA and the greater AA and HBI community is a true testament to her sheer existence as a role model for all. Last few words. These ladies combined exemplify exceptional leadership and have been so influential in AHA's greater mission, which is to create a space where allies and members of the AA and HBI community can connect, feel seen, and feel heard. And I'm so proud that this year's recipients went to Serena and Felici. Okay, I'm done yapping. I believe I will now pass it to Shahana.
Alrighty, congratulations to all the winners. My name is Shahana Parvis. I am one of the coordinators for AHA. We are now nearing at the end of the proclamation, so I would like to honor our sister ERGs to come and introduce themselves. So if you'll come one by one and just introduce yourself and give us a few words. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you all for allowing me to speak briefly. My name is Kate Barbie. I work for Human Resources, Technology Services, and Management and Finance, and I am the president of LEAD, which is the employee resource group dedicated to employees with disabilities and staff who support them. So thank you so much for having us here. Our email is lead@arlingtonpa.us. We would love to have more members. It gives me a treat to see Lawan here. But also, I think Prakriti deserves a round of applause. We just had lots of applause for the ERG here. But today's event, you are an incredible leader, and it's a joy to work with you.
Good afternoon, my name is Jamie Adams. I'm the Secretary of the Black Employees Council. I want to congratulate you all on a wonderful proclamation. I also want to invite you all, the BGC, we're looking for volunteers for our Juneteenth event that will be on June 17th, so we invite you all to join us, and our email address is bgc@arlingtonpa.us. Thank you.
Hi everybody, my name is Naudi Martinez. I'm in CPHD and I'm the chair of Alianza, which is the Hispanic Employees ERG. Also want to just recognize the new leadership team this year for 2025 to 2026. Kiara Candelaria Nieves, who's in Communications in DES. Miriam Jurado, who is in DES in the Engineering Bureau. Jessica Vasquez, who's in DPR. And Julianne Waite, who's in libraries here in Courthouse. So very excited to have a broad cross-section of staff represented in Alianza. We're very excited to announce that Alianza is going on tour this year. Our first stop is going to be Sequoia this Thursday to do our annual membership meeting. So we're excited to have some food, some music, and to see some old and new faces. Thank you, Prakriti, and all of AHA for providing space for us to introduce ourselves and make these announcements. Thank you.
My name is Brittany Beelan.
libraries, but I'm also the co-chair for the Parents and Caregivers community. We're one of the newer ERGs. So everyone at some point in their life is probably going to take care of someone in their family or in their lives. So whether you're a parent yourself or you're taking care of your parents or someone in your life, come join us. We just share resources, share stories, and build community. Right now we're just kicking off planning for Take Your Child to Work Day in November, so keep an eye out for that. If you'd like to join us, please email PACC, P-A-C-C, at arlingtonpa.us, or come find me and talk to me. So thank you.
Hi there, Mark Wisdom here. I represent or work with the Veterans Employee Resource Group. We're open to veterans, family members of veterans, anybody that's just interested in what we have going on. Currently, we are trying to organize working with the Virginia Department of Veteran Services to put on a briefing for county veterans, family members. If you have anybody in the family that you may have questions about, there will be flyers coming out later on. Anyway, great event, McCready. It's been wonderful. Thank you.
I know everyone's hungry. Holy crap, it's 1:10. Say just two things, or I don't know how many things, just short things. I also noticed I never introduced myself. My name's McCready. I'm president of AHA. And I would like all of you to give yourselves a round of applause for being here today. Thank you so much for your support. First thing, obviously, a little bit past one. And I would be remiss if I just didn't say a few words, because this year's proclamation, the theme was a legacy of leadership and resilience. And when I found out what the theme was, I couldn't help but think a little bit about my own kind of journey to becoming president of AHA. Just a little backstory, I promise, was a bigger context and a bigger message, and I'll send you all off. But when I first started at AHA, I had definitely no idea the impact that it would have on my life. Definitely never thought I'd be president. And I think a big part of that is that I never looked at myself as a leader. I never looked at myself as someone who could be president of something. I was never president of a club, never captain of a kickball team, not that I would ever play. But you know, that idea of being a leader, that just never really came to me. And actually it was when Juan Wong's her term was up, nominations were open. And it crossed my mind to run, but I was like, no shot, someone else will take it. I'm not a leader, there's no way. And eventually I think the nominations had closed, and it turned out actually no one had nominated. And I was like, okay, maybe this is my chance. I reached out to Lon. I don't even remember if I called or messaged her, but I remember being like, hey, I have this crazy idea. It's not even my idea, it's my friend's, and if you think it's crazy, I think it's crazy too. I said, what if I ran for president? And I don't even remember what was said, but I remember being met with this overwhelming sense of support and encouragement, and just someone telling me like, yes, you can do it, and you are a leader. And I think in a lot of ways that actually changed like my life and my outlook on myself and in my journey through Arlington. And I guess I say all of this to say that I wanted to take this second to look at all of you and say, if you have any doubts about whether or not you are a leader, you are one. You don't have to fit a certain mold, you don't have to act a certain way, you don't have to do any of that. Being a leader means being who you are and owning that and taking up that space and being unapologetic and fighting for what you believe in, fighting for the ones that you love and showing up like you've done today. I know for me, a big question's always been, I've never been a leader, how could I do it? I don't even know if I have what it takes to make a difference, to make a change. And a quote that came to mind that I'll wrap with is a little thing from a big speech. This wonderful, brilliant woman says, you have power. She says, you have power, and don't let anyone tell you something can't be done just because it's never been done before. That was said by the one and only Kamala Harris. I would like to think that's everyone's favorite auntie. And I say all that to say that I hope you all look yourselves in the mirror, look at your friends, look at your loved ones, and know that you are leaders, you are capable of leading, you are worthy of leading, you are worthy of taking up space. And yeah, so thank you all so much for joining us. I did also want to make sure I give a shout out to Hagara, as it is also Jewish Heritage Month. And thank you all so much for celebrating with us today. One super quick last thing, if I could have all the officers please come up and stand up on stage. I wanted to give a huge shout out to all of our officers. They are incredible. They have very much been the fabric of today's event, the food outside, all of it. So yeah, if you just wouldn't mind giving me, or joining me in giving them a round of applause, and then I'll shut up for it.
thank you. That's it. I got my own stuff.
Everybody smile and stay right there. You're doing great.
Yep.
And then one more vertically for fun. All set?
Okay, thank you. Yes, okay. You stand over there. Take good
Can you take a picture?
I will do that as well. Do you want me on this one as well? One more here.
My phone's over there.
And then I'll take one on.
No, we have his phone. We have his phone. Oh, okay. Oh, yes, yes, yes.
I'm sorry.
Would you like to be in it?
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. You go ahead, do it.